her to line up for several hours to get it.
Who knew? Cross-country skiing, eh?
Yeah.
All right, Andrea, thanks for your call.
Thank you.
Look, we've only 5 minutes left of the show. So many calls coming in, so I have to go straight to Dave. Dave's in Calgary. He's on the phone. Hello, Dave.
Hi there.
Hi. What's the new skill you're interested in learning?
Well, we've sort of been thrown in because of the pandemic into becoming Zoomers, and I'm trying to learn a skill and being functional at the same time. We're both in our 70s, and we find that when we're trying to learn something, and whatever we had to explain to the people in our church or whoever that we're old, we're sort of set in our ways, and that we have learned different ways, and so to appreciate trying to develop these skills at the same time as using these skills is difficult.
Okay, but what's the skill? It involves a Rubik's. Are you getting into the Rubik's Cube, are you?
Well, years ago, we could do the Rubik's Cube. My wife was a teacher, and she used it as a very good skill in her classroom, and this goes back 40 years or so. Our daughter could solve the Rubik's Cube in a half a minute, whereas we were taking a minute to solve it. And we wondered why this was, and your guest has pointed out, it was the interference that we had of when an adult is doing something, he would double check. And it's like tuning a radio, that if you're tuning in a radio, and of course we don't do that anymore, but you'd go past and then you come back and go there. When the children learn a skill, they know they've done it right, they move on to the next step. And every time we had to do a check and a double check was costing us nanoseconds or seconds, and that's why she could solve it twice as fast as it. And I'm finding, when I'm learning a skill, my interference is, I consider myself, me working with computers for a long time, that the interference is the new skills I need or the old skills I have are interfering with the new skills I need to be able to do Zoom on the online training, et cetera. And so just looking to find out how we can get away from these interferences. I teach sailing, and I've got people come to me, and they've done this for all their life, and their eyes are open because they have developed a new skill. But I have to sort of undo a lot of the interference that we have developed over ages to just get by.
Well, Dave, you've given a lot of thought to this, and you also said you solved a Rubik's Cube in under a minute, which I would, that's like seriously fast. So I know you were aiming for 30 seconds, but really, a minute is amazing. Anyway, Dave, we're going to have to let you go because we're coming to the end of the show, Dave, so I'm afraid we're going to have to let you go, but thank you so much for calling in and sharing your story with us. Tom Vanderbilt, before we let you go, I'm just wondering if even quickly, if you're able to say what the hardest part was in learning all of these new skills that you did.
I think really just taking that first step that some people have mentioned, signing up for the class, singing those first notes to my singing teacher who I just met for the very first time, and but all this was pre-existing fears that didn't really bear out. When I went to classes, I found sort of like I think it was Andrea was mentioning, there were other beginners there, and by nature, I think people who are willing to be beginners as adults. They are, sort of a self-selecting group. They're open to new experiences. They're worried about making their own mistakes. They're not really focused on the mistakes you're making. And so, yeah, just the first step, and that's sort of why I focused on this whole beginning process, because just getting to that point for me was a hurdle. It took me half my life in some ways.
It was great having you on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Tom Vanderbilt, he is the author of a number of books, including Traffic, Why We Drive the Way We Do, but his most recent book is called Beginners, The Joy and Transformative Power of Lifelong Learning. As I mentioned, we do have a copy to give away, so if you are the winner of that copy, we'll be in touch with you later today.
It's what people need right now. Right now, we're really isolated. And we are looking for that connection and that thing that, you know, makes you feel like there's something more and something deeper. And not just my piece, but if you watch the whole entire Messiah, and you see each performer, it's so intimate and almost personal, but at the same time so relatable to everyone that language in the end doesn't matter. You know, the music and the feeling speaks to everybody in so many deep ways. You know, I made a comment that I thought Handel would dig it if he was still alive, and I stand by that. As far as, you know, at that time when he was alive, he was a pretty progressive person, and somebody who, you know, his music was not stuck in the times, and it was not stuck in the politics of the times. It transcended a lot of those things. I think he would approve.
Yeah, I think so too. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
My pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Diane is a musician from the Kluane First Nation in the Yukon. She was one of the artists featured in Against the Grain's Messiah Complex, a new interpretation of Handel's Messiah. To watch the performance free of charge, visit agttheater.com. It's available until January 31st. Let's hear Diane's performance. Here's O Thou Tellest Good Tidings to Zion.
tellest good tidings to Zion from Messiah Complex. Jay Miller has a passion for music and storytelling, and although he's only 22, the member of the Mukmuk Marungo people in Australia is already making waves. First finding success through social media platforms like TikTok, the artist is now hitting the mainstream. Jay Miller finds inspiration in his siblings and family, and I love his powerful messaging, particularly in this song. This is 60K Plus.
Sometimes when I'm out